Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Lisa and Usman on 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch this show. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Let's get to it.
2 hours ago, I was very happy. But back in the hotel, that changed very quick. Thank you so much. So, we have a few things to discuss. If we don't brush them up tonight, one thing in particular, there'll be no marriage.
Why are you telling me that we no marriage?
After what I saw,
What do you saw?
your whore on your messenger. Don't play stupid.
So we've seen this kind of attitude and language from her before, name calling, aggression, harsh language. And in the past, we, or at least I, watching, it seemed to me to be a distortion and that she was overreacting to something that was an issue, like she's concerned about his fans. She feels threatened by his fans. And that's okay. You can feel threatened. You can be anxious. You can be scared. You can have traumas in the past that are being triggered about abandonment or infidelity. And you can bring them up and say, hey, not your fault, but I get triggered by this. Can you help me out? Can you reassure me that you do indeed love me and that these other people aren't a threat to me and my status with you? Nothing wrong with that. That's not what she does. What she does is she gets very accusatory, demanding, controlling. This is a reaction because something early in her life, total speculation, that she wasn't given the impression that other people would hear her true feelings. A lot of us go through this, honestly. And so a lot of us end up covering up our true emotions with anger and control, withdrawal, insults, playing tough, these kinds of things. And they're all primitive defenses to a difficult situation. And we've seen her do that in the past. And she shoots herself in the foot. She really challenges Usman's affection for her. And so she's laying into him again. So if I was to take a guess, I would say that she saw something on his phone and it was no big deal, but she was triggered and she got really upset. So let's see what happens here.
Just with my own cell phone. This one. You think you're a wannabe player? Let me tell you something. I've been watching her for months on Facebook. This is a stupid that put a sad emoji when you posted something to me. You that's in love with a white woman, get my time now. You know that I love you, but you love who? Me? And then up top it says, I love you, baby.
Who said that?
Who in the do you think you are?
Okay, so that's interesting. If I'm understanding right, what she is saying is that he had a text to someone else with a kiss and an I love you. I'm assuming that Lisa saw that it was recent. So that is interesting. That's not what we've seen before. Before we saw fans commenting on Instagram saying, you're the best, that kind of thing, not private messages going back and forth in which Usman, blows a kiss and says, I love you. Let's see what happens here. Now, maybe it was from the past. Maybe it's his sister. Let's find out.
Earlier this evening, I tried to activate my Wi-Fi off his phone, and it opened to his messenger. And I saw this one woman.
Okay, how many of us believe that she was using his phone for Wi-Fi and it just happened to open to Messenger and it just happened to open to that page? It's possible, totally, but it seems more likely, given her behavior in the past, that she actually went into his phone specifically looking for evidence of a threat.
Saying, I love you. He's like, baby this, baby that. No. Who in the you think you're playing with, Usman? I open your phone and see this.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
And you're telling her, I love you. You have no clue how bad you hurt me when I seen this.
Can I see?
Okay, so that's the first thing that she said that I think is not distorted and not defense related, in that she says, you don't know how much you hurt me when I saw this. That makes total sense to me. She was hurt. Anyone would be hurt if they saw something like that. or most people would be anyway. But it's in the midst of all this aggression and anger. And you just have to wonder, what's going on in her mind about this exactly.
I'm so mad right now. Fire is going through me right now. I will not be humiliated by this Nigerian whore and him writing point blank, I love you.
So all that anger and all that aggression is a secondary response to all that fear and all that trauma of abandonment and infidelity and rejection. But she covers all that up because that's weak, and that's the soft underbelly of someone's personality. The hard shell that we put to the outside world, the turtle shell we put to the outside world is the aggression. You look strong, you look in control. And through that defense, it's hard to know what she's trying to get out of this. Is she trying to preserve the relationship? Because if she's trying to preserve the relationship, she's pushing him away right now. Now, again, maybe he is a dog and he's been cheating on her this whole time and she actually just figured this out. So I guess let's continue watching. Let's see what his response is.
I need to make sure he has been faithful to me. Because if not, there's going to be no Usman and I.
That lady is just a friend. She was talking to me that I was not giving her attention.
Well, I tell you what.
I was avoiding her. That enough should tell you that I am sticking to you.
No, you're sticking to me and using me while you're some bitch here in Nigeria when I'm 7,000 miles away.
The relationship I have between me and that lady, she's just a friend. And yes, I say hi baby to her because sometimes fans or friends can call you baby, they can call you love. It does not mean that they are your real love.
Okay, so he's saying that she was just a friend and that he blew her a kiss and said, I love you, because that's what him and his friends say to each other. I could see that. It lends itself to suspicion, but I could see that being possibly true. Let's see if it is true and if she believes him.
I don't have any girlfriend around me. Outside, inside, around me, anyway. The only girlfriend I have is Lisa. Listen.
No, you know. Don't tell me to listen. And you want to play? You tell me now, because I tell you what. I'm older than you. I played this game a lot longer than you, and I play a lot harder, and I always win. You're going to hear me now.
But I have to talk.
No, you're not.
What is she trying to win? Is she trying to win the argument? Because by winning the argument, what he's supposed to say, yep, you're right. I am a terrible person. As you said, my friends are terrible people. As you said, I was cheating on you. As I said, you're right. You caught me. You are a strong, intelligent person. You win. How is that winning for her? That's losing for her. She's kind of potentially in a lose-lose situation anyway if he was cheating, but he's saying that he's not. So this is that mindset that when you are traumatized growing up and there's a lot of competition growing up, there's a lot of neglect, and you have to fight, you have to scrap for every single morsel of resource, food, water, love, attention, safety, then when there's a threat, you learn you got to come out strong. And that's my hypothesis about her, is that when she was young, this was either modeled for her or she learned through experience that if she didn't scrap for every single bit of resource, love, and everything else, then she was going to lose out and she was just going to get steamrolled by other people or even victimized by other people. And it's that mindset that keeps people in this aggressive win-lose mindset. It's hard for me to know exactly what's going through her mind if she's like, the relationship is over and I want to win this argument, or if what I suspect, given past behavior, she believes winning is putting him in his place so that she can be dominant over him. That's another thing that she exhibits, a schema of dominance where when you are in a relationship, there's a dominant person and there's a submissive person. That's the only way you can actually have security in relationships. I don't know. It's just total speculation. As always, I can't diagnose these people. I have no idea. It's just a little bit of information. So just always take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. While I'm on the topic, subscribe, hit the bell below, like the video, comment below. Am I making any sense? Do you have a hard shell that you put out there? Tell your experience. Participate in the conversation. subscribe to the podcast on your phone and become a patron on patreon.com. That's the main thing. Become a patron. That's the best thing you can do. But anyway, so I'm guessing that she had a experience growing up where she either observed dominance, like a dominant mother and a submissive father, or she was dominated by someone that was in her family. And we call this, complex trauma. And through that template, she learned, oh, that's what love is. That's familiar to me. That's the way you get security is through one person winning. So one person's dominant and the other person is submissive. That's the only way relationships can stay strong. There's a sacrifice because one person is dominant and the other person is submissive. But without that, there's no chance of any relationship working out because people can have childhoods where that is absolutely true. And so she has continually exhibited that impulse of like, when in doubt, dominate. And I will only feel secure after he is submissive. Now, he's been escalating as the season has gone on where he's getting more and more intolerant of this behavior. So I wonder if he will once again apologize and instead strike back. I guess we'll see what happens here.
I'm going to speak. You either block them and clean up that page tonight, or we're not getting married.
I did not bring you here for you to just be shouting on me. Do you get to understand that I've been doing a favor for you to get married to?
No, let me
I'm
tell you.
doing that.
Really?
Yes.
I don't want to marry you then. You know why? I've got 50 men in the state right now I can marry, but
They're
I
not like
chose
me.
you.
They're not like me.
You know what? You're not that big of a star. You're local talent.
This is unfortunate. I've seen couples do this, and when they get to this point, it's pretty awful. I've been in conversations like this before. You cross a certain line, you're both triggered, your cortisol is up, your distress is high, you're very triggered, and all you're interested in doing is just hurting the other person. You just want them to feel pain. It's a boxing match. And he said something like, I'm doing you a favor by marrying you. And she says, I could marry 50 other guys in the United States right now, and you're nothing, and you're local talent, you're not a star. And this is, if they are breaking up right now, then okay. But if they aren't breaking up, which is their pattern, they do tend to get back together, then these extremely hostile, hurtful words get into your head. If you've ever been in a relationship like this before where words like this are said to each other, that stuff goes in and it does not leave. And so it's best if you get into situations like this to try to separate, calm down, come back to the conversation. That can be really hard to do for a lot of reasons. It's a lot easier said than done. One, because some people are preoccupied or they're just so triggered that they just feel like they got to hurt the other person, or they just get so anxious among separation, or this doesn't occur to them. There's a lot of reasons, believe me. I work with a lot of couples on that issue, but it's like, what's the point of hurting each other's feelings, even if you are breaking up? Well, what's the point in humiliating the other person and making the person feel terrible about themselves? You're triggered, you're hurt, you're worried, you're entitled to those feelings. You're not entitled to hurt each other's feelings and make fun of each other and humiliate each other. So this isn't looking good. This is by far the worst fight they've had that they've shown us.
All right, let's get this straight.
Is that what you're thinking?
You're liar to me. I'm done. I don't need to.
Sit down here. Sit down.
No,
Down.
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Why
I'll get the cab. You and the little boat you got. Best luck to you in your life.
So this is her pattern. She gets triggered and she walks off. This is her pattern. It's a reaction to that pain and anger. I'm guessing she recognizes that it's only going to be more pain if she stays. She probably recognizes that there's no point in continuing the conversation. She also probably wants to run from the source of her pain. And then if the past is any prediction of the future, what he's going to do is he's going to run to her and apologize and make nice, and then she is going to warm up to him. But, who knows? Maybe Usman has crossed the line here. Maybe he's just like, okay, fine. Wow, you said some pretty awful things. Yeah, I guess we're done here. So let's see what happens. Now, the other thing I'll say is that why would Usman put up with this kind of behavior? Why would he continually? So there's a lot of reactions that Usman could have. One is to strike back, which he did just now. The other reaction is to appease, which is to be submissive and say, "I'm sorry," and try to take the high road, which could be a submissive high road, or it could be high road. But there are other high roads. There are other reactions that he doesn't usually exhibit. One is to say, "Lisa, I want to talk about, so let's make up, I'll appease. And then, Lisa, we got to talk about that last fight and the past 3 or 4 fights we've had. Because here's what I see. Here's what I see you doing. And I want to try to address this so that we don't have those fights again, because we seem to have these fights all the time. And so when you're triggered, you could really help me out by just telling me that you're scared, and then let me reassure you as best I can. To come at me with such aggression, with so much insult, and with so much dominance, I have to say it really hurts my feelings. It scares me into thinking, my God, what is she going to do to me later? And it makes me not want to be in the relationship. It really degrades my affection for you. So, that's another way to address it. But, he hasn't done that yet, and I suspect that he won't. But who knows? Let's see what he does here. Oh, but the point I wanted to bring up was Usman, might also have a template of love and security of dominance. He seems to take to the dominant submissive relationship pretty well. A lot of people in Usman's shoes would be like, "Whoa, I am out of here." But he doesn't, he fights back, but then pattern shows that he appeases. He might not do it here, but in the past, he's shown that he's okay with falling on his own sword and, apologizing and letting her, quote unquote, win, and letting her get away with, I guess, the behavior that she exhibits. So he might have seen that kind of relationship in the past too, where he was either dominated or he saw a dominant parent and a submissive parent. And that template of love, it's like love equals dominant submissive. Whereas other people grow up in families where that isn't the template of love for them. And so this would look very foreign to them. And if they were ever treated this way, they would be like, "Whoa, this doesn't feel right." And they would be more likely to leave or really attack and try to get rid of. So let's see what Usman does.
Who in the does he think he is?
Lisa get angry after she found my text from woman. But no matter how angry I am, I feel like, okay, she's in this country because of me. So I have to go and meet her no matter how angry I am. Hey! It's me.
What?
It's me.
What?
Where are you going to?
I'm leaving. I don't need your bull.
Okay, so there it is. I actually didn't expect him to do this given the level of aggression that she had back there, but he's doing his old pattern. They're both falling into the old pattern. She runs away, he chases, and he apologizes and is warm and affectionate and gets her to warm up. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here. Maybe he'll get re-triggered, but this is a very ingrained pattern. And unless they go to therapy or really figure out a way to work on how their circular causality, their vicious cycle, then this is just going to repeat ad nauseum in their relationship and will potentially even destroy them and escalate. So let's see how they navigate this one.
I don't need your wars. I don't need you. After seeing this, I don't know if you've been loyal to me. Who else you been with?
No. I am not doing that. You know that. Okay, now, let's sit down. Let's finish what we're discussing. Let's sit down and finish this, please.
Okay, so we got her to return to the table. Let's see how they manage this conversation. I have high hopes for them, but honestly, I just imagine it's going to look like their previous conversations. So here's another thing that I'll say, is that there are a lot of different styles of relationships. And just because us looking at this would say, ew, that seems terrible, they're consenting adults. They can make their own choices about the kind of relationship they want to be in. There's a lot of different styles of relationship. And I bet you anything, okay, I bet you anything you out there, if you have other couples that are friends of yours, you know, you've probably judged them like, oh, Jen and John, they have a funny relationship, or Steve and Gary, wow, did you see what they did? That was pretty embarrassing. And they're probably judging you. So whenever we look at other relationships, we tend to judge it and say, that's not the way I would want to do things. But there's a lot of different ways to live. There's a lot of different ways to be happy. There's a lot of different ways to express love. There's a lot of different tolerance levels. And so that's another thing we just have to consider. And as a family therapist and as a couple therapist, I'm definitely aware of that. I've talked about this before, but there are plenty of times where I have thought in the beginning of my career, the first 3 or 4 years, where a couple would come see me and pretty quickly I'd be like, whoa, these two should not be together. And that would kind of influence my treatment of them. But over time, I would learn that the couple actually worked really well together, but just had some issues that they would bring into session for me. And the other thing is that in sessions, they don't necessarily bring in the love moments. They bring in their conflicts. You know, if they had a week of being lovey to each other, but there's a little conflict, then they tend to bring that to me. They say, oh, okay, we had this conflict. We need to work on that. They won't say, we had 6 days of love times. Let's talk about that. Now, there is a positive psychology, solution-focused, postmodern therapy style where you actually do want to focus on those 6 days of goodness. But anyway, it's frequent where I will see the bad moments. And with Lisa and Usman, I suspect that the show doesn't show a lot of the good moments. It's just a guess. And when the cameras aren't there, the two of them are in bed together. They're making love. They're kissing. They're bonding. They're whispering in the night. Those are, I'm guessing, happening, and there's a lot of bonding that can happen in that moment, and we don't have the benefit of seeing those moments. So that's another thing that I think all of us should consider when watching TV shows, and also when paying attention to our friends, and also for you clinicians out there, to really just be tentative about your own judgments about other relationships and the tolerance levels that other people should or shouldn't have.
I'm ready to go back to the land of the free and decent people. I've never been this angry and hurt in my life. You know, if I was in my home country, I would have changed my phone number already. But I do love this man.
As always in the interview, they're much more vulnerable and much more healthy. She says, I'm hurt, and she's starting to tear, and she's expressing those primary emotions, those understandable emotions. Hopefully, Usman can warm her up so she can feel enough trust and safety to express that, because that's the only way I can see them getting out of this.
And after all the time that Usman and I have been together, I'm willing to listen to him.
You've been complaining that I talked to a lady and you call her a hoe, blah, blah, blah.
Up with this bitch. I see it clear as day. You can sit here and do the song and dance and blow smoke up everyone that I ask in the restaurant, but I'm not buying it, Usman.
Don't think about that. You are going to be commanding me all the time.
Oh,
Don't forget, listen.
No.
Listen, when you were talking, I was listening.
No, it has nothing to do with commanding. It's called respect and communication. If you think you need to go put your in some strange, go right ahead.
So, okay, it's not heading in the direction that I'm sure Usman was hoping for. She's right back at the aggression and name-calling and accusations. And he's resorting to, I forgot about this. He has another mode. He has a mode, like I said, he has the mode where he fights back. Well, maybe it's in that mode. So he has the mode where he's conciliatory, and then he has the mode where he is fighting back. And within that fight back mode, he also will try to dominate. We've seen that before in him. He'll try to say, you don't understand. In Nigeria, the man is in control, and I'm in control, and you're going to listen to me. And so that lends itself to that hypothesis that both of them come from families where there was a dominant, submissive element that pervaded the attachments in their families, and that they learned that's how you attach. There's always a dominant. In order for relationships to be close, someone has to control the other person, and someone has to beat the other person down. That's the only way to end arguments, essentially. And so he's kind of resorting to that. He's getting like, you're going to listen to me, and da, 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 and you can't control me, instead of trying to get at the primary emotions here. For him, I'm guessing he feels hurt that she would be so accusatory and so mean to him. I mean, she said some pretty awful things. And instead, he's, showing that dominance. So, this doesn't look good.
That lady is not my girlfriend. I am not in a relationship with her at all. I'm an entertainer. Some girls, if I post, they used to talk. Meanwhile, I don't even know them. I am telling you the truth. I have nothing to do with that lady. Yes, that is true. You see that I wrote to her, I love you. But that does not mean that I love you, because if all the I love you that is coming to me, they are my girlfriends, then I think I have about 100.
Okay, so it sounds convincing-ish that that's the way he communicates with a lot of people. It is a different country. It is a different culture. The I love you thing could be a different meaning. So I could absolutely see that. The text was moi, kiss, I love you. So I don't know. I always just, as a therapist, I always say, I don't know. How would I know the answer to the question as to whether or not Usman is cheating or not? And us as viewers, we often feel anxiety when we don't know the answer. We want to land on one side or the other. Oh, I don't think he would do that. He's a good guy. Or, oh, he's a dog. I'm sure he's doing it. Why would you text someone that? That doesn't make any sense. But the fact is, none of us know. The only person that knows is Usman and that woman in all likelihood.
You might as well just stuck a knife in my heart when I found that on your phone. You have no idea how much you hurt me.
So that's good. We're getting to those primary emotions. You have no idea how much you hurt me. It's great. Gives Usman a chance to see how he affected her. They could have avoided this whole conflict if she just would have started with that.
I'm hurt and I'm pissed off and I have every right to be. That would be like you opening my phone and you see that I'm telling some dude that I love them. Not cool.
Awesome. Lisa, 100%, A+. You're calm, you're rational, you're entitled to those feelings, you're owning those feelings, you're saying, what if you saw that kind of text? Wouldn't that have bothered you? She's not calling names, so this is fantastic.
I've been cheated on before, and there's always that fear in my mind is, are you going to cheat on me like the others?
Be patient.
Right, so there's that trauma, is she's been cheated on before, she's been hurt before, she's been betrayed before. All of those moments come pouring into this moment and get transferred or displaced onto him, which of course is going to happen. There's no way to avoid that. And when we're aware of those things, when we own those things, then we tend not to let them run away with us. We can say in the moment, I'm being triggered from all the past of being cheated on right now. I'm feeling all those feelings, 1,000 infidelities in my past plus one right now. Oh my God. I don't know what to do here. Look what you did to me. You triggered me. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Like, it's okay to be triggered. There's no way around it. It's what you do with it, is the question.
I'm not telling you that you should be patient, that I will be doing wrong to you all the time. No. Be patient with the way things are being done here in Nigeria.
Despite all the drama between Usman and I do love Usman more than life. And I believe him when he says this woman is nothing to him.
Okay, so he convinced her, and she believes him. That's good for them, I guess.
I don't think Usman's ever had a woman ever put him in his place. And I am that woman who has jumped up and said, hey, you're not going to mistreat me.
Okay, so that's a problematic narrative of I am going to put him in his place. She literally said, I don't think he's ever had a woman that has put him in his place. That narrative of dominance is right there. But then she says, I'm not going to let him mistreat me. Okay, it's okay. But that narrative, which I know a lot of people have, and I'm guessing a lot of you people out there have this as well, is like, I'm not going to let people mistreat me. Okay, the way to not, you can't stop people from mistreating you. You can't stop people from cheating on you. The way that you get your needs met is by cultivating strong relationships so the other person doesn't want to cheat. When you have a strong bond, there's little reason for the person to want to cheat. Now, I'm never going to blame the victim of the cheating for the cheating. The person cheating did the cheating. 100%. The cheater is responsible for cheating all the time. There are circumstances sometimes that we might mitigate some of that blame, but there's no excuse for that immoral act. But if you want to reduce the risk of your partner cheating, you want to have a strong bond. And the way that you have a strong bond is that when you feel threatened and triggered, you express that primary emotion so that the other person, at the very least, isn't insulted and hurt by your accusations and anger, but also realizes that you need them. That's a very bonding thing. When you realize that your partner needs you and is affected by you, it's very endearing to you. It's the reason why we love puppies and kittens and babies, because those creatures need us, and we see that. Like, oh my God, you really need us. You really need me. I love you because you need me so much. And in the same way in relationships, that dependence, for Lisa to be like, when I saw that, I was devastated. I love you so much that when I saw that, it tore me apart and it broke my heart. And I'm so hurt and I'm so scared. Usman, please cure me of that terrible feeling. Then Usman says, I love you. I'm so sorry. No, that's not what happened, or whatever they did. Now, I don't know. Maybe he cheated. It's hard to know. But the point is that when you're vulnerable, then you build that bond of dependency that is good. And the person is less likely to cheat. If you are going to say, I'm going to put him in his place, well, that's going to put distance in all likelihood, and then that's going to put, cracks in the floor, which is going to potentially lead to destruction of the foundation, i.e. cheating.
I think it's better we understand each other and we blend with each other. I don't know say you should blend with Nigerian culture, but blend with me. Understand the life of your husband. Trust your husband. That is the only way this relationship can last. I know that Lisa, she still expects me to propose her in person. And I still want to marry her because going to United States is very important for me too.
Oh, so this statement has morphed over the season. In the beginning, I believe Usman was saying, I want to marry Lisa because I love her and she's my baby girl, and I also want to go to the United States and become a star in the United States. Over time, it's gotten to this point where he is now saying, I want to marry Lisa because I want to go to the United States. There was no, and I love her, and I want to be in a relationship with her. Now, maybe that's there, and maybe it's implied, but his words has slowly morphed into just, I want to marry her because I want to go to the United States. So that's interesting. If Usman were here and I were to ask him, well, wait, putting aside the United, would you marry her if the two of you, if she were in Nigeria, if she were a Nigerian woman or whatever, would you marry her if the United States was not on the table? What would he say? Or would he, or if I asked him, do you want to be with her or do you want to be with just any American woman? These are questions that we just don't know the answers to, but we do hear his language that might say something.
But leaving my family, my friends, my career to go and live with a woman that yells me on a daily basis, I don't know if she wants it.
All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle, in which we follow Lisa and Usman. Tune in next time when we continue with their journey. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.